So here you can see where you can find them is we have DLC models. Can you see here SDLC models?
Yes.
So there is a different models are there, but I'll come back this waterfall and agile methodology differences. First, let's understand what is agile methodology. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can come back to this once we have a fair idea on the agile and waterfall, then we can discuss these differences. So let's go. What is agile testing? And so agile testing means basically it is a best practices and principles followed in the agile software development life cycle. So it is included all the members of the project as a one team, as a agile team. So they are going to complete the tasks within a certain amount of time, and you have to deliver the product at the end of the the agile sprint process, we call that. So we'll talk about all this agile sprint and everything. Okay, that's agile testing means basically. So it's agile testing is one of the uh, agile software development practice where all the agile team members will perform the tasks to deliver the product. Okay, so in a specified uh, time frame, basically a time frame will be there. So that is called agile testing. And so what are the pros and cons of agile methodology? So now if you understand previous methodologies like waterfall, V model, and these are all very slow processes. Okay, so waterfall model is a very lengthy process. So you have to take step by step, like first requirements gathering, analysis, design, coding, then only testing will start. You are not going to participate from the beginning. So that's a drawback. Any changes are there, that is not acceptable in the waterfall model. That's a problem in the waterfall. So then people realize that, okay, this model doesn't suit for the development process. And then, as you know, a lot of changes are happening. Customers are expecting so much, and immediate requirements they are expecting. All this, so taken into consideration, and they designed a new methodology that is waterfall, agile methodology. So this agile methodology is a very very speed and continuous delivery of the software, and you can get the customer satisfaction with that, because you will release the product within a weeks rather than months. That's one good advantage with this agile methodology. So here, and another thing is all the stakeholders of the project are involved in the agile methodology process, so that any doubts or any clarifications required, you will get the doubts, clarifications immediately, so that you don't need to wait. Turnaround time is very less, because everyday meetings will be there and they will clarify, and if you have any questions also. And that's the another advantage with the agile methodology. So you have a very close interaction with the business people, and so developers will get much support from the BA people, and they will clarify all the doubts, and you will get a better understanding of the requirements. And so it is basically working product will be released in a weeks. So working product means which is no completely useful feature. The useful feature will be released to the customer. The customer will be very happy with that. So that's the pros. And some of the disadvantages are there. So what are the disadvantages is, so sometimes software deliverables are large ones. So you have to break down them properly. If you're not able to break down them, it is going to be so difficult to develop in a within the time frame. So that's one drawback. And another thing is documentation and designing. So they will not be much importance will be given, but there will be a Jira. So there they will mention all the requirements, but so the documentation so won't take a much priority here. So another thing is, so here the decision making crucial for the development process based on the seniority and experience. And if you have more experience, then so you will be so given priority, because it's a rapid kind of development process. If freshers, it's very hard to catch the no the technologies and the development process. So why it is, because you don't have a time to learn. So in this process, so you have to catch immediately and do the work immediately. So that's the bigger problem here. Only efficient people can work here. So not the persons who are learning, they cannot survive in this process. That's one drawback. So what kind of projects this Agile methodology is suitable? So there are you have projects like you have clear requirements, or sometimes requirements are dynamically changing also. You can adopt this Agile methodology. So even though you are going to accept the frequent changes in the product, so that is the one that kind of projects you can so consider for the Agile methodology purpose. So there are different types of Agile methodologies. We have a Scrum methodology, Crystal methodology, and a feature-driven development methodology, and extreme programming. So these are the one, and also Scrum methodology is the very famous Scrum methodology. These are the different Agile methodologies, but Scrum is a very famous one. So we'll discuss that Scrum process in detail. What is Scrum process? And so we can go. Kanban is so this is basically it's a tool in the Jira. Okay, so it's just a board, a dashboard, where you can see all the requirements that are assigned to each person, and then you can progress the you can see the progress of each task, and that is given to the team members. So who is doing what, you can easily track with this Kanban board. Kanban board will be in the Jira. You can see the Kanban board in the Jira. Okay, so that's just a dashboard to see the team's work. It's very high level, you can see. And then if you click on that particular task, you can go to that task and see each team member what they are doing. So that is the Kanban dashboard, we call that. So let's go to another important burn down and burn up charts in Agile methodology. So what is mean by burn down and burn up charts? So if you want to track the progress of the ongoing project, so these two charts are used. Burn up charts means, so that indicate that the work that has been completed till now, That is called burn up chart. So you will report, okay, how many hours they completed. So that is the burn up chart. Burn down means, so this chart shows the amount of remaining work pending in the current project. Burn up is completed task will be shown in the chart. Burn down is the amount of remaining work is present in the project. Pending, that will be shown by burn down charts. So these are the important interview questions. Please so read this part. And Scrum of Scrums. This is okay. Scrum of Scrums means, so when there are multiple teams involved in a project, it refers to the scaling of the daily Scrum meeting. And in this scenario, each team is responsible for conducting and leading its separate Scrum meeting. However, to maintain the coordination between the two different teams, the communication between two different teams, a separate meeting must be conducted where all the teams will be participated. That is called Scrum of Scrums, we call that. Okay. So for example, you are in the one Scrum team, Scrum A team. I am in the Scrum B team. So you are doing your task, I am doing my task. You don't know, but so we both are working in for the same project, but feature. So your feature is different, my feature is different for the project P. So the feature 1, feature 2 are belongs to project P only. But you are independently working, both the teams, both the Scrum teams. The one of the two understand overall, right? So they will merge. So both the Scrum teams in one meeting. That is called Scrum of Scrums, we call that. So clear what is meant by Scrum of Scrums means?
Yes.
Okay. So Agile velocity I will explain. Let's move on to principles of Agile testing: continuous testing, continuous feedback, simple and clean code, less documentation. So these are the main principles of so continuous testing. Why you are calling is because every 15 days, that's Agile ideal time frame. So in a particular time frame, 2 weeks time frame, they will take up few user stories, that means requirements. Those requirements, you will finish them and you will perform in the test sprint testing, right? Testing you will perform and it will so move to next sprint. For example, if you finish in the same sprint, it's okay. If it is not finished, it will move to next sprint. You have to do previous sprint and the next sprint new features also again. That means continuously will perform the regression testing. So that's this. And continuous feedback. So the client is going to give a continuous feedback how the feature is working, any so changes are important, any bugs are there, they will give a feedback. So that's the continuous feedback. And so the very simple and clean code means whatever the errors and defects arises during the testing phase are fixed within the same iteration by the Agile team members. So this allows very simple, clean and concise code. So here the documentation is very less and mostly everything will be maintained in the Jira tool only. So that's the one thing. So the difference between Agile and Scrum. So Agile is one of the methodology. In the Agile methodology, Scrum is the one of the type of Agile methodology. Okay. So the Scrum, so we'll discuss what is a Scrum and so what is a product backlog refinement. So this is the very important product backlog refinement. This is also called a backlog grooming, also called in Agile Scrum methodology. So backlog refinement or product backlog refinement, both are same. backlog grooming and product backlog refinement. This is one of the meeting in the Agile Scrum methodology. So where the development team and product owner, business people will participate in this to review and refine the product backlog. So what is product backlog? I'll explain. Be patient another few minutes, okay? So the goal of this meeting is, so any user stories or requirements are not clear, concise, and so you want to speed, bump up the priority to take up for the development, and such kind of things will be discussed in this meeting and refine that requirements. So the team will get clarification on the requirements and estimates, and you can reorder the items to reflect on the current state of the project. So basically, what you are doing in this meeting is you will refine the requirements and you will estimate that how many days required to implement that story or requirement. So in the Agile process, requirement is called story. And how many days you need? You will give a story points. So the basically story points is a measurement for implementing a particular user story. Particular user story, and that means particular requirement. And then, so if this business people will decide, I want this immediately, so can you bump up priority? So then this will be changed to higher priority. So particular user story. So that's how they will decide in this meeting. Okay, so that's the one of the very important product backlog refinement meeting. So the metrics we'll discuss. Let's move on to, so let me give. So what is the ideal duration of a Scrum sprint process? The ideal duration of any sprint is 2 weeks. Okay, 2 weeks is the main any sprint duration is 2 weeks only. And the Scrum team may consist of 3 to 9 members. It depends on the project size, okay? So based on that, the members will be available in that. It can be sometimes more than 9 or so even 10 people also will be there if it is a bigger team. Let me go to sprint planning and sprint retrospection. I'll come back to this. Let me show this. Okay. So in the Agile methodology, I'm going to cover, so what is Agile and what is Scrum and what is Scrum team, what is a sprint, what is user story, how to give story points, how to estimate user story. All these points we are going to learn. So what is the definition of done, definition of ready? So you should understand these points also. Different sprint activities, like a sprint planning means backlog refinement, sprint review, sprint retrospection, all these points we are going to learn. These are very, very important. So in the Jira tool, how to, so the Jira we'll see that Jira also later. Okay, first let's understand Agile methodology. So what is product backlog? All the new requirements, epic user stories are available in the product backlog. So basically, it's a repository where you can store all the features, requirements, and user stories in the product backlog. Basically, storage place. You can keep them in one product backlog. So then they will be prioritized which one you need to take in particular upcoming sprints. So that's the product backlog. So let's discuss one by one. What is Agile? Agile is a methodology which promotes continuous iteration of development and testing throughout the development process of the project. Both the development and testing activities are concurrent, not like a waterfall methodology. So concurrent means parallelly these activities will be conducted independently. So you don't need to depend on the development. So you will do your activities and the development team will do their activities. So that's the Agile. What is Agile? Agile methodology promotes continuous iteration of development and testing throughout the software development lifecycle of the project. Both development and testing activities are carried out concurrently, not like a waterfall methodology. So that is the Agile methodology means. So Agile testing means, so Agile testing can begin at the start of the project with the continuous integration between the development and testing team. So Agile testing is not sequential, it's just a continuous process. So Agile team works as a single team only. Developers, testers, both will be considered as an Agile team only. So in the Agile team, so particular sprint, the testing activities you will carry out. So you will take up all the testing activities from beginning to till the release of that story, user story. Basically, user story means a requirement. So that's Agile testing. So the main Agile methodology is Scrum methodology. Scrum is a Agile development method which concentrates particularly on how to manage tasks within a team-based development environment. Within a team-based development environment. So like, this Scrum is derived from the rugby match. So right, rugby match, there are a group of people. So, and two teams will be there. And first, so you will always, so try to goal for that, right? So same here. So your objective is you need to deliver that product in a specific time frame. So that is the Scrum process. So in this Scrum process, so we have few actors. So Scrum Master, the Scrum team, Scrum Master, Scrum team, product owner, or business analyst. So these are the business people, product owners, Scrum team, Scrum Master will be there. Okay. So basically a product owner responsibility is he will gather all the inputs or requirements from the customers or different people, and he will prepare a product backlog. So in the product backlog, what will be there? So it's a repository where all user stories, features will be placed in this product backlog. So what is the answer you can give? Product backlog? It's a repository where you can see the list of features, user stories available there, and prioritized which one you need to take up in the upcoming development process. So that is the product backlog. Who will do this product backlog preparation? The product owner will do that. So product owner will do that. So in the product owner, once it is done, so the sprint, when the sprint starts, when the sprint starts, the first meeting will be sprint planning meeting. In the sprint planning meeting, so you will pick up the user stories from product backlog, and for each team member, it will be assigned, and you will estimate the user stories with the story points. That means, for example, so team member A, team member B, team member C. So they will take up one by one user story from this product backlog. So Scrum Master will assign, and product owner also will take help. Okay. And they will assign for one resources, and QA team will take care of that. Each user story is tested thoroughly. That's a Scrum team, and the Scrum Master responsibility is he will conduct the Scrum meetings, and he will take the status of the tasks done by the Scrum team, and he will help any blockers are there, and he will coordinate with the different team members to unblock you from the issues. That's a Scrum Master responsibility. So they see that a Scrum Master is responsible for setting up the team, Scrum team, and the sprint meetings, removes obstacles to progress anything in the task, so that a team is facing a problems. So basically, Scrum Master ensures that everybody follows the Scrum process. He is not a team leader. He is a separate Scrum Master will be there. Okay, that's a Scrum Master responsible. And a product owner. So product owner creates the product backlog, and he will prioritize the product backlog, and is responsible for the delivery of the functionality at each iteration. So that's a product owner is basically voice of a customer. He is going to get all the requirements from the customers. So product owner creates the user stories. User stories is nothing but a new functions or new features. So a feature can contain multiple user stories. Feature is a bigger one. That feature again subdivided into different requirements. That is user stories, we call that. So each requirement is called one user story. Small units, small functionality functions will be treated as a one user story. So there is a now, in every organization, what is happening is, so there will be there will be all the teams PI meeting will happen. So PA is a plan, so iteration. So that first planning meeting. So how many that will be like it will take 5 sprints or something like that. 5 sprints. So they will take up in this particular PI. So for each PI, may contain 5 sprints. Okay. So this PI can contain features. So different team features. A feature again subdivided into user stories. So each sprint you will take user stories. So like that, 5 sprints are over, one more PA will start again, and new features will come, and that will be, so by these 5 sprints you have to finish this feature development, testing, everything should be completed. So that's how they will plan. So that is the features and user stories, how it will be planned. So the Scrum team So basically, a Scrum team, whatever the task assigned to you, so you will perform and complete the task within that sprint, within that sprint cycle only. That's your responsibility. So now if you see this, so once you get the user stories from here and the first beginning day of the sprint, sprint is nothing but an iteration, a time frame. A time frame is called iteration, one sprint. So each sprint has a duration. For example, today it starts, count 15 days, 2 weeks. So it starts today. Generally, it starts on Wednesday. So Wednesday it starts, that week, next week, and then next week, Tuesday it will end. So that's the 2 weeks sprint. In the 2 weeks, whatever the task assigned to the development team and testing team, you must finish them. So then what will happen, sir, if we don't finish? That will spill over to next sprint. Okay, so next sprint it will spill over. Spill over means you have to move that task, you have to finish there, and a new task you have to take up from the second sprint also. It will be overburden. So that's why you have to be very, very cautious and finish the task on the same sprint only. So, okay, what is the first meeting? Sprint plan meeting. In the sprint planning meeting, what will happen? Team select the top prioritized user stories, and they will estimate how many days it will take each user story. So that's the sprint planning meeting. Then sprint backlog meeting will happen. The sprint backlog meeting, what will happen is the breakdown of the tasks. So, okay, so each user story, again, you will break down. So what are the different tasks you need to perform? You will break down that. So that you will perform here. So then every day, daily Scrum meetings will happen. So daily Scrum meetings, all the team members will participate. This is also called a stand-up meeting or daily Scrum meeting, DSU, daily Scrum meeting, we call this. So our stand-up meetings, we call them, okay? So this daily Scrum meeting, it will be maximum 15 minutes or maximum half an hour, okay? Not more than that. So in this 15 minutes, every team member has to give their status, what they have done yesterday, what they are going to do today, or any blockers are there. You are going to discuss in this Scrum meeting, and who will conduct that? Scrum Master will conduct that. So he will take each person's status, who is working, who is not working, everything will be tracked here. So that's why daily Scrum meetings, these are not alternate. Daily Scrum meetings will be there, just 15 minutes only. So you'll just give your status and then you can show done. So your task will be done. So you have to tell clearly 3 points. What you have done yesterday, first point. What you are going to do today, and any blockers are there. These are the 3 points you need to talk in the meeting. So and so yesterday I have learned STLC process. Today I'm going to learn SDLC process. I don't have any blockers. That's it. 3 points. You can just talk. That every team member must explain, must talk on this meeting. That's very important. That's a daily Scrum meeting. So, and keep going every day. And then the before day of the sprint ending, that means so it's a 14 days, right? So 2 weeks. So before last day of the sprint, there is a sprint review meeting will happen. So in the sprint review meeting, each person task will be reviewed. So who has will be able to complete and what is happening. And so everything which user story is going to complete or not, they will review. So on the final day, so we need to provide a demo, whatever the task we have done so far. From here to here, whatever the task you have done, finished work, a demo you have to show in the meeting, final day. So there are so many people will be involved, and product owners, scrum masters, different team members, everybody will be there, and even directors also will be there. So, and while giving a demo, they will ask questions. How you tested this, how it is, all these things. Okay, so that you have to give a demo. That's a demo day. Once the demos are done, then Scrum Master will ask, can you accept so this story, is it completed perfectly? So there will be every user story has a acceptance criteria. So the developer or tester, whether they meet that acceptance criteria or not, the product owner will measure that. If product owner accepts only, that will be treated as a completed. Otherwise, so it is still under pending only. So that's the so final demo day, what will happen. On the same day, there is one more meeting, sprint retrospection meeting will happen. So you understand, retrospection means what went well in this 14 days, what went wrong, what are the improvement areas you need, or anybody helped for you, or you want to give a applaud for the your team member, or anything, something you will talk about good and bad, and so any process improvement is there, you can give your suggestions. That will be recorded by Scrum Master. Okay, so that's a storyboard or retro board, we call that retro board. He will record all the points. So that is the so that retrospection meeting, the last meeting. So what are all the activities? What are all the different meetings here? Sprint planning meeting, sprint backlog meeting, daily scrum meeting, and sprint review meeting, and sprint retrospection meeting. So these are the different meetings will happen in the Agile Scrum process. Okay, so that's it. You can remember this diagram, you can explain what is a starting point is sprint planning meeting. So then sprint planning, what will happen, sprint backlog, what will happen, daily scrum meeting, what will happen. You need to talk each meeting and how it will happen. Okay, so that's the